Hi guys, Tugger here with a new video, and this video will be a mini arms warrior PvP guide video for Dragonflight. It will not be the usual guides that I'm going to make that are very long. This one will be short and sweet because I wanted to give all the arms warriors some ideas to actually pwn some noobs in BGs, and I'm going to be honest, this build is actually very enjoyable, and I'm going to give you the rotation, how you could do it and how you can fish those big mortal strikes that can actually go for a very high amount for an arms warrior at least, because arms warriors are not really in habit of doing like crazy one shots. That's not going to happen. It was never happening before, but now I think with this build you can really go for such a one shot. Of course, it is not really a literally one shot. You have to go do some preparation, and once you have the preparations, everything is set, you can just do a one shot with your maul strike and go further beyond with, of course, all the buffs you're going to give to yourself. I'm going to give also the strength and weaknesses, and of course the build for this spec, I would say, this talent build that you can go for. You will see that in the description below, and also some timestamps on whenever I'm going to do the rotation, whenever I'm going to show you the build, and whenever I'm going to talk the strength and weaknesses of that build. Now, let's talk really quickly about the honor gear that I went for. I'm fully stacked, like really literally. I have some world PvP items, like I have two, the belt and gauntlets, because I really want to have that versatility set bonus. I don't know if it's very viable, but I think it's still more than you would get by, let's say, getting the honor gear. So I don't know, I think you're winning 50 or 60 versatility in total with that set, so I really like that. I went for a haste and crit build, I would say. I have a bit of mastery, like 180, but I'm not like fishing for it. You could maybe make a mastery build, but I'm not doing that. I have a lot of versatility, I think, for now, especially since those stats are in open world PvP. Whenever you're going into BGs and in arenas, these stats are going to get boosted because this is item level 340. And whenever you are going into BGs, you're going to have a lot more stamina because of the set from trinkets, but also a lot more stats, like for example versatility, haste and such will get boosted in BGs. So I went for haste and a crit. I'm going to tell you why. So I go for crits because I want to be able to crit reliably with my one shot. If I'm not critting on my one shot, they could survive, but whenever I'm going to crit, they are going to get obliterated and not even understand what is going to happen with their health. And same, I like haste because I do like, let's say, the feel of haste on arms warriors. I like to be able to be on and going with my abilities, also having more overpower procs, tactician procs to get more overpowers, which basically again improves the mortal strike. And since you get buffs for overpower, but also for mortal strike from the previous patch, you will notice that it's very strong. Again, crit, haste on every piece. I didn't really enchant for now because it's ridiculously like expensive. I'm actually leveling a enchanter, so I can actually enchant my own gear. Anyways, I also play with the on-use trinket because I want to be able to decide whenever I'm going to do a one-shot. Sometimes you don't really want to do that because your preparation is still required to do the one-shot. And whenever you get the haste trinket, like the proc trinket, like for example this one, you will not be able to control that, and that's a shame, right? But I like to have that on-use, which is again a lot more than what's like written right now since you're not in BG. Anyways, let's talk about the build right now, and then I'm going to show you the rotation, and then you can just practice it in BGs and hopefully take it into solo shuffle, for example, or take it into 2v2, 3v3 or RBGs. That could be also very fun. But anyways, this is my build. Of course, there's a lot of things that can be interchangeable. I'm going to talk about those things first, and I'm going to talk the strengths and weaknesses of that build. So basically on the class tree, we went for basically a lot of mobility, of course, because I think everyone is going to go for that. We do get bitter immunity instead of, let's say, inspiring presence. I do like the unused that I can use to dispel poisons, curses, diseases, like especially versus decays. But I can understand why you would maybe go for Inspiring Presence. I didn't go for Fast Footwork because I think 5% for only 1 point is not going to be very valuable for Arms Warrior, because if you're slowed, that 5% will not help you. Um, we go for Berserker Rage with the Piercing Howl, but I guess if you want to be a team player, you could play Berserker Shout, but again, I think in random BGs you don't really need to do that. We don't go for Slam, we don't go for Whirlwind, so this is out of the way. And I'm going to talk about the important stuff on the last, I would say, tier of that talent tree. We have Avatar, of course, and we go for the Warlord's Torment because we want to be able to boost yourself with Avatar and Colossus Smash, because you want to have Recklessness to get more crit, and whenever you have more crit, at that point you can really reliably crit on your Mortal Strike, and that's going to be very, very good for the synergies with that build, because you are going for Spear of Bastion, which automatically gives you a 15%, because now it's written 25, but I'm not in PvP. In PvP it's 15%. You get 15% increased critical strike damage whenever you're standing within the Spear of Bastion with your enemy, which is quite strong. Especially, you can also see there's a lot of things that are going to modify that crit damage. You have Impale, which gives you 10% increased crit damage. You get, let's say, Sharpened Blades, again 10% increased damage on Mortal Strike. Basically, you're going to do ×2 or even ×2.1 of your damage whenever you're critting, and that's going to be very, very noticeable. Now I think everything is a bit basic, like that 5% is basic, but it's something that you're going to have all the time. So I took that instead of going for, let's say, wall strikes, which is not really good for our build. You could go for that, but I don't think it's very good. And we didn't go for bleeds at all, also not rents, because again, you want a one shot and you don't want to wear them down. You could go and remove Stormwall, but I really like in BGs to have Stormwall, because people are like mindlessly like fighting you when you have died by the sword, and you get healed for this. So I think it's a very good thing to have in BGs. But now let's talk about the noticeable things. We're going for the blunt instruments. I know a lot of people talk about me with Warbreaker and such. I like Warbreaker whenever you're playing versus melee cleaves, but at the moment we play versus a lot of casters in BGs for some reason, and I don't feel like I have a lot of utility doing Warbreaker AoE. I like to do it on one target and then do my burst, and if he pops walls, it doesn't really matter with this build because you're going to overkill most of the time. We do go for the kill because I like that haste effect that you get, even if it's only 10%, because if they are above 35%, it's going to be 10%. It is going to be very noticeable as well. Anger management is going to help you with your Storm of Destruction to get Bladestorm, and now you're going to go to the nitty-gritty and fun aspects of that build. We go for the depth experience. Again, improved mastery and improved chance on tacticians, so that will help you with your overpower stacks. But what we go for, it is this juicy Hurricane. In PvE, it's 5% strength. In PvP, unfortunately, it is 2%, so you have a lot of hidden PvP modifiers. I'm afraid that they need to change a few things to make arms what I think would be very meta. I think if they remove like the half of all the PvP modifiers that they actually implemented for Shadowlands and for BFA and for Legion, I think Arms Warriors would be actually very busted, but I think if they just remove like 2 things, it could be very good. But we are going for Hurricane to get the 2% strength, and with this going to be stackable 6 times, you're going to have insane amounts of strength, which again gives you more damage on your Mortal Strike, and all of these are going to actually help you to perform very well with your one-shots. Now, I'm going to test it for you guys on the training dummy, but you should understand I'm not in PvP, I'm not in BGs, I'm not in arenas as well, so you will see that the damage is not as high as it could be, but also it will not be replicable 100% in PvP because, again, the damage is reduced because of PvP modifiers. Moral Strike isn't hitting for 17k outside of, like inside of PvP. It's going to be around 13k, something like that with my build, with my gear. So you think, like, again, like for example, Colossus Smash, it gets like super improved in PvP, it does like 30k tooltip wise. And overpower is also improved in PvP. So you have a lot of things that are actually improved, but also like nerfed. But anyways, I'm going to show you the rotation. Basically, you're going to go in with, of course, charge. You're going to try to fish. And of course, you have in your talents the executioner's precision. It will be 17% in PvP again, so it's not going to be very, very representative on what I can do in, let's say, PvP. But now you have one stack. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to actually prepare it with Colossus Smash. I'm going to Bladestorm, and I'm going to Spear of Bastion once I'm done. Avatar, and I can already do a lot of damage. Like I did 40k, like no crit. But you see, like 42k because I used the sharpened blade. My highest hits was 42k and my crit was 58k. Unfortunately, not on the best time, but you already see that there is a lot of potential. Like for example, my execute is hitting for 87k, which is actually massive because it's not an execute build, but execute just hits super hard because of the cruel strikes. You get like a lot of things, like for example sharpened blade. You are incentivized to execute, I would say, with your hurricane, because it again will be improved with this build. But I'm going to try to show you guys with the crits, but I need to wait a bit. But let's talk about a few aspects of that build. Strength and weaknesses. The strength is your on-demand burst is very high because you're actually trying to do a clean rotation. Of course, a lot of people are just not going to do or at least stay in place whenever you're doing that, and unfortunately. But of course, in arenas you have like possibilities with your mic, if you're like in 3v2 or 2v2, to ask your DK, for example, to keep them in line with a great stun, for example, like a Frostworm stun, or with an AoE stun, or Strangulate, or your Evoker. If you're playing with an Evoker, they just like try to stun the whole row of enemies, so you can really do your burst reliably in arenas. I think in BGs, again, there's a lot of factors coming in where they could disarm you whenever you're doing that. They could stun you, they can fear you, they can also have their mobility to actually run away. But let's try to get the most out of this build. So we're trying to get a proc of execution, because I tried to have at least one proc of the sudden death, so I can have actually a great amount of damage towards my Moral Strike. And it will be quite representative, because again, if you have 2 stacks, it is the same as 1 stack in PvE, so that will also show you how much damage it can do in PvP as well. But of course it doesn't proc for some reason. Okay, it procs. So now you have 1 stack. And what you could do is also start with Bladestorm. People are just not going to run away because it doesn't really do a lot of damage. And what you can do is basically bam, bam, sharpened blade, Spear of Bastion, Avatar, Moral Strike, 71k, no crit. Of course, unfortunately, in this video, I'm not critting at all, but you see the potential, right? Like 82k without my Bladestorm stack, without my execution stack. It is actually insane. Of course, again, try to test it at home whenever you're on the monitor and you're actually playing World of Warcraft. Try to do this at home with your Arms Warrior. Play this build. It does 71k, no crit. So you can imagine that if it crits with all the modifiers that I showed you, it does 150k minimum. It could do more, but minimum you can get 71k. And that's in PvE. In PvP, I think you can shave off maybe 20k from it. It's a normal hit 50k, which is still massive for an arms warrior. You're not going to do that all the time, but whenever you're going to do that, I mean, any warlock is also going to cry for their mama whenever you're going to hit them with this Mortal Strike. And the amounts of damage you can do with Overpower, the amounts of damage you can do with Bladestorm, all of this is actually very reliable. What you could also do, I'm going to show you a variant of that build, is basically play with Blade Master's Torment. So if you're playing with Blade Master's Torment, it means that whenever you're doing Avatar, you will get the stacks of Hurricane. So you don't really need to do Bladestorm, but again, I would suggest to do that. But if you want to play without the recklessness effect, you could do that. So basically you're doing the same. I'm not going to fish a stack, I don't care about that. I'm going to basically do this. I popped Avatar with the Bladestorm effect. I'm going to Spear of Bastion. I have an execute proc, of course, and bam! I did 70k. I did 71k. Again, it had like one stack. If you had like 2 stacks in PvE, it would be like ridiculous, like amounts of damage. But you can do again a Bladestorm, and you have like a mini Avatar, but doesn't really it's not really applicable. Gonna stun them, and then you're going to do a lot more damage as well. But I think the only reason why I'm not playing with the Blade Master's Torment, I think Blade Master's Torment is very good whenever you have Unhinged, but you're not playing Unhinged with that build. You're playing with Hurricane, and with Hurricane, you have a lot more value by controlling your Bladestorm. Because again, whenever you're doing Bladestorm, you have no value of Avatar, because you need to have a full value Bladestorm to get the amounts of strength you need to do the one-shot. And because of that, it's not really as valuable, because the Avatar effect is not going to help you at all. While, for example, with Unhinged, because I have builds with Unhinged, I'm going to, of course, show you within other videos I'm going to make for warriors. I think Warlord's Torment is just that much better, because you can actually do controlled crits with your Colossus Smash, which is something still very good. And I guess the weakness of that build, because I have to talk about the weakness, is that it is reliant on setup. And what I like about Arms Warriors is, I don't care if it's a setup if it's played like a brawler, or if it's played like more of a assassin, because you can play this is more of an assassin really. You're setuping and then you're going to assassinate the target, and you're going to try to one-shot them. I think Arms Warriors are great because you have a lot of playstyles at your disposal to have a lot of fun. You could be more of a brawler, basically playing with Unhinged and try to sweeping strikes your enemies with your Spear of Bastion and try to kill them like this. Or you can play more of an Executioner with your Fatality build. And you can go with Executioner's Precision again to improve your Mortal Strike. So you have a lot of builds going on. And then you have the Bleed build, which is good, but it is nerfed in PvP for some reason. So please, Blizzard, please nerf Bleeds, because it's like ridiculous to have a 15-second CD on Uproar instead of 30 seconds. I mean, why would you do that? Because it's not even logical to have a 1 minute 15-second CD instead of a 1 minute CD. But anyways, I guess it's me rambling on some things. But I do like the Arms Warriors feel of Dragonflight, because you can really do anything and have a lot of fun. Basically, you can do a lot of combinations on your PvP talents. I play with Demolition because I like Wrecking Throw to actually remove Dark Pacts. I like to remove also a lot of shields from Disc Priest. I like to remove also shields from DKs to help my my fellow casters to actually cast on the DK. So you have a lot of great things. Of course, you're losing Shattering Throw, but I feel like in VGs, like, if people are doing Divine Shield or Ice Block, it's not really your job to get it away, right? You can just go rampage someone else and let someone else finish that mage or that paladin. But I like that playstyle. I hope you guys try this at home. Try this. In the description below, you see the build. I'm going to, of course, share that build with you guys. And you'll probably enjoy it. Really, it's so good, and I'm having a lot of fun. I'm going to discuss a lot of builds in the future. I'm going to give it a bit of time because I need to test other builds. I need to test it throughout to know the strengths and weaknesses of that build. But if you have questions about this build, please let me know in the comment section below. I will respond to you, and you will have a lot of fun in solo shuffle. You will have a lot of fun in BGs, in PvP arenas, and also in open world. In open world, this build is literally a noob stomper. Like, you're going to one-shot people. They're going to literally be AFK the next time you're ganking them, because there will be helplessness, like literal helplessness in their faces. Like, it's really, really fun. So thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate you. Again, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. Like the video if you like the video, and be sure to stay safe. We will catch each other very soon in a next video. Have a great day. Bye.